8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Competition Plus Power Hour, and I'm your host, Dujane Bland, and with me tonight, I have Nicole Clark. How's it going?
Hey, I'm doing good, and I apologize for me being for a technology challenge tonight.
It happens. That's why it's called technology.
It's just on a Zoom today. I was just on a Zoom, and I'm like, now my camera's like, yeah, sorry, it's not gonna work. So
Yeah,
I apologize. You know how much I hate vertical video so much.
Yes, this is gonna eat at you the whole entire time.
It's like karma or something.
Oh man, we have a great show for you guys tonight. First, we're gonna have the owner, operator, GM of Famoso Dragway, Blake Bowser, on first. And we're going to talk about the California Hot Rod reunion that will be happening this weekend, and the fact that they're taking this thing over and they're looking to elevate it to new heights. I'm looking forward to hearing from him and what the vibe is from the racers and what they're looking to do to make this thing, take this thing back to greatness.
I know a lot of people who are NHRA people who are spending their off weekends at the races, because that's what us racers do. We don't actually have an off weekend. They'll be out there, and I bet you Caps and everybody will be out there, Pedregon, all those good guys.
Yeah, indeed.
Big Jim.
It's going to be fun. That I know it's going to be fun. And on the second half, we're going to have your Rookie of the Year runner, Richard Gadson. And that's going to be a fun interview because he said he doesn't like robot interviews. So it's going to be fun. We're going to have a good time. Thanks for joining us. If you haven't already, like, share this show, tell a friend to tell a friend. Let them know that we're talking drag racing here on the Competition Plus Power Hour, and we're going to have some fun tonight. All right. And what's always fun is when you have pumps that can pump you up and pump your cars up the right way. When you need to go fast, when you need to make horsepower, when you need that pump to do its job, well, Weldon Pumps is where you want to be so they can make your car perfect. Blake, how's it going, man?
Doing great. Thank you. I'm sorry. I got the vertical video going too, I think.
I'm so glad I'm not alone. Thank you for your...
I'm still at the track and I've had to grab my cell phone, so I apologize.
Not a problem.
I don't feel so alone anymore.
Yeah. I know you guys are working really hard this weekend. You got this event coming up. I'll start with the question of what inspired you to take this over as, you know, this is an event that it's one that's prided. It's one that's looked at as, you know, very revered. What pushed you to do that?
Well, it slowly started to go through a little decline. Actually, pre-COVID, the event went through a little decline there. We started getting a little too regulated out there with that event and with this event. And we put on the Good Vibrations March meet every year, and we're a little bit looser with the approach on it. Not as many rules, regulations. Now, certainly we follow all the rules as far as NHRA and safety features, all that. So we just saw a decline in the event, and it started to, threaten the livelihood of us. And I just thought, you know what, I want to try and do a little better job here if we can. So I approached Glenn Cromwell. This has been a work in progress for a while. And we announced it last April that we're going to give it a shot. So we are still making a very nice donation to the museum. The NHRA Wally Parks Motorsports Museum is getting a guaranteed check out of the weekend. and we're on the hook for all the bills. And we just wanted to just make this thing just bring the vibe back, right? There was just kind of a little bit of a loss in the vibe there on this race. So this is our championship race for the NHRA Heritage Series. So we just wanted to kind of bring that back and build this thing up. And the challenge has been with this race is we're slowly turning it into a drag race where it used to be a reunion, still is. And we had built-in time for the social aspect. You mentioned the capses and the cruises and all that earlier. They come hang out and want to just visit. So March meet, we have to go because the weather doesn't let us run real long. We start kind of early and finish kind of early. So this race, we've got a lot more time. We can start about 9 in the morning. We're going to run tomorrow, Thursday night, under the lights, Friday night under the lights, so we can stretch things out, take more time, enjoy the fact that we're here, we're at a drag race, and have some fun. So we're just bringing back the fun factor. I'll stop with that.
And when you're talking about something, I was looking at the event, and it was so cool because I grew up in the 80s too myself, but not to age myself, but I remember the good old days of racing, 70s, stuff like that. I love this sunset salute that you guys are planning for all those races. And just tell us a little bit about that, because I think it is so cool.
So that's going to be on Saturday night. Well, Friday night or Thursday night, we're actually doing a 4-hour nitro test session. We're going to be doing something at sunset each night. So Thursday night, we're going to be testing all day with our Group 1 and Group 2 cars in the Heritage Series. And then Friday evening, 4 to 8 p.m., the sun's going to set about 6 p.m. here. So 2 hours before, 2 hours after, we'll be running nitro cars. Friday night, we're doing a nitro qualifying session for all the categories: top fuel, funny car, fuel altered. We've got 55 nitro cars going to be on the property total. And then Saturday night, we're going to finish up, run the jet cars, and then we're going to have the cackle cars will be lined up in the staging lanes as people walk out, and they will fire off as the fans walk out, and they'll get a little nitro salute on Saturday night, walking right through the nitro fumes and header flames of all the cackle cars. So that's kind of our plan.
That's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. And that'll be hopefully right about this time. Sun's setting right now out here for us. So about this time, we'll send the jet cars down, light the sky up there, and then we'll light the fuel cars, and all the fans can walk right through them. Yeah.
Oh, that'll be gorgeous.
Yeah. You talked about a more looser event. Things got a little bit regulated. What do you mean about that in that aspect?
We got a little too involved with got too involved and tried to, I think we got caught up in the paralysis by overanalysis. The event sort of took on a national event approach, which you have to have a lot of rules and regs at national events. There's a lot going on compared to the event we're doing here. So we jokingly say, hey, we can't let the inmates run the asylum, but let's give them a weekend off. Let's let them have some fun. Let's let them ride around in their golf carts. Look, if they're getting out of hand, we're going to stop you. Let's let people play music at night and have fun. Fire off. There's no curfew here, so let's embrace it. We can fire off a nitro car at 2 in the morning. There's no rules and regulations against that. We started to get away from that, and that's what we're known for. We're known as a little bit of an outlaw track. Bakersfield did not observe the nitro ban that took place back in the 60s. So we're known as kind of a little bit of an outlaw track. So we just want to kind of embrace that and kind of be on the edge, but yet we're following every rule possible. We're still fully insured. We're following the NHRA rule book. We're just letting the fans and the folks that stay out here during the weekend have a little bit more fun than you would find at a regular racetrack.
Like you said, back in the day, that's how it used to be. You really didn't have the curfew.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Say it again.
Oh, it's just like it was in the good old days, but you're trying to recreate of like you're walking, you're like time walking into a race from the good old days, and that's what you did. You didn't worry about curfews, whatever. It was fun.
There wasn't such a thing. We tell everybody when you come in here, act like it's 1970 all over again. Leave your drama outside the gate, whatever's going on. Your kid hates you, your wife hates you, you lost your job. I don't know what's going on in your world. You're caught up in the political world, elections coming up, whatever. Leave it all outside. Walk in these gates, step back in 1970 all over again, and just have a good weekend. Forget about things and go home to all that drama and your reality on Monday. But right now, walk through the gates, enjoy the nitro, hear the cars, reminisce with your old friends, And then just, on Monday, we'll let you go back to the real world. But right now, just have some fun.
What's the being that you're kind of taking it back and bringing the fun back into this event? What is the car count looking like, and what are some of the racers? How are they feeling about what's going to take place this weekend?
Yeah, we're already seeing sort of a renewed enthusiasm. The car count, I think, is up a little bit overall from the years past. Total car count, we'll be about 400 cars, which is pretty good. Again, that's not a March meet is 500 cars, and that's just race all the time. Where this is going to be a little bit slower pace. We're going to take some breaks. We're going to embrace the fans. We're going to have some giveaways for them. We've got goodie bags that all the weekend credential people to get a wristband. You get a goodie bag. You check in over there at the tent that sells the event T-shirt, and you get a goodie bag. It's going to be a keychain, a magnet, and all kinds of stuff. A little koozie for your can, your canned soda. I'm assuming it's soda, not beer, but I'll go with that. I think a bottle of water fits in there too. So. We're going to be giving away stuff. We got tattoos for the kids. We've got Hot Wheels. We just got a lot of stuff. We're just going to embrace the fans and give stuff away and just sort of show our appreciation for the fan that took the time to come out here and showed faith in us rebuilding this race. It's going to take some time. We're taking the crawl, walk, run approach to this event. We're going to be happy, paying the bills this year, giving NHRA Museum their money. And if I can pay all the bills after that, I'll be very happy this year. And we'll just continue to build it from there and just embrace the fans, the racers. But the car count's up. The spectator ticket sales are better than I thought they were going to be. So I'm actually very happy.
Awesome.
That's great. And I'm just excited about the car count. When you tell me about that car count, I'm like, heck, we can't get how many nitro cars out there because they're all over here.
Yeah, we've got about 16 nitro burning fuel alters, 23 funny cars, and I think there's 10 to 12 nostalgia top fuel cars. Now, here's the cool thing. The top fuel cars are going to be running 2 races in 1 weekend. We had the unfortunate the Tulsa points race had to get canceled. So we're going to run 2 races in 1 weekend with nostalgia top fuel. We're going to run on Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday we're going to do some more finals, and Sunday's going to be the actual reunion championship race for that. So yeah, I want to make sure I don't forget. Big shout out to Jim and James Mayer, Good Vibrations Motorsports. They are sponsoring this year's event. They're a presenting sponsor, so they're making this possible. We can do these fun things and throw some money at the giveaway stuff for all the kids. And by the way, everyone 15 and under is free, so all kids come out for free. There's no charge for them. So we're going to hand them a bunch of stuff too while they're here. So yeah, it's just going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a really good time, and I'll worry about paying the bills next week.
Why? This is a question I would have. You have a sponsor, but give a pitch on why sponsors should get involved in this event, because the more the merrier. Makes things life a lot easier. It's great that you guys have a sponsor for this one, but we need to start thinking forward here. Why they should get involved in this event?
Everything that we do out here is a two-way street, and you can talk to Jim and James Mayer. When they started sponsoring our title sponsor of the March meet years ago, they saw an immediate return on their investment. So it's not just they're not just throwing money at us to cover things out here. They're seeing a return on their investment. They go home on Monday to orders waiting for them because they're an online parts retailer. And they've got orders just waiting for them on Monday. Monday is their busiest day usually of the year after a race like this. The international crowd, they have been discovered by the international crowd, ordering parts around the world and having them sent to them. So that's what we want to do. We want to have a sponsor come out here, but not just take their money. We want to have them actually get a return on their investment. So we welcome more companies to that, and we will give you a return on your investment for sure. So that's our goal with a sponsor.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And you talk to them. Jim and James are thrilled to be involved. When I asked them, hey, I know you're the title sponsor of March Meet. We need some help for the reunion. They said, no problem. We'll sign up. So yeah. And we're able to sell multiple presenting sponsors for this race. So anybody out there listening and you want to be a presenting sponsor of the event, give me a ring and we'll take care of it. And I guarantee you, we'll get your money back to you. Yeah.
So Blake, is this your first rodeo when it comes down to track ownership, operating, general managing?
No, I've been out here in some capacity for 50 years. I'm 57 years old. My first job out here was selling programs when I was a kid for
Wow.
the track's been through a lot of track owners in my time. And in 2006, my father and I took the track over, full ownership of the track. The facility is owned by our county of Kern County. NHRA has the lease on the property, and we have a sublease from them. In 2006, my dad and I took over operation of the track. Unfortunately, I lost my dad here in April of this year. And it was all set up ahead of time. If anything happened to my dad, that I would take over full. So I could say yes to your question in the fact this was my first big event without my dad. But I've got 50 years experience doing this, so I'm quite confident we're going to be just fine.
Oh yeah, you've been groomed well, and this is
I've
done
done every job out here. I've done every job. My job out here is when I show up, I get, who didn't come today? Water box, time slips, front gate, clock operator, prepping the track. I do. Whoever's not there that day, whoever needs a hand that day, that's my job for the day. So I can do it all. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. And ladies and gentlemen, here we are. It is at Famoso Dragstrip. We're talking about the California Hot Rod Reunion. It is this weekend, October 25th through the 27th. And where you can get your tickets is right there, FamosoDragstrip.com. Make sure you guys do that and support this event. Man, it sounds spectacular. And most importantly, what I'm really loving, and I'm about the racer, I'm for the racer, that this event's going to be fun and going to be given back, so to speak, to the racer.
Yeah, and this is the Racers Championship race. This is their, they're getting their year-end championship trophies and their event trophies. So it's extra special for them in that respect too.
Man, that's awesome. Blake, thank you for taking the time to come on the show. I know you got a lot of work to do preparing for this thing, and hope you have one spectacular event.
We look forward to it. Thanks for the help, you guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
Man, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Back to bringing racing fun. I'm like, I remember those good old days going to my track, with my dad and BIR. And like I said, they'd warm up the car. It's like pitch black, midnight. We're all asleep. Oh, we got to test the car, and just look at the pictures at the time. Everybody had a blast. It was, flip flops and just, so I'm glad they're bringing that fun back. People just want to escape.
Right. They deal, a lot of them, still run with, NHRA for sure. And, you need a break from that national event regiment, and it's nice to still be able to have those types of events. March Meet is kind of one of those events as well. And, it's nice to have those events. Obviously, safety is of priority, and, that you can't be too crazy, but at the end of the day, man, you can let people let their hair down and kind of take, like he said, take it back to the 60s and 70s and enjoy it and allow fans to feel that vibe. It's definitely, I can think back to the 80s, in the mid 80s, when I first went to the drag strip and that vibe. So I can only imagine what the vibe was back then. And people love that, especially the ones who are from that era. Takes them back to a time when things were simpler, they say.
That's the word I was looking for, simpler. Just because I remember, barely when I was a kid, when they had my dad and them worked on the dragster with the front engine. And the thing that scared the crap out of me as a kid is those old fire suits. They still, to this day, I'm just like, I remember being this kid, the big silver over the, that was not fun to that. But,
it's awesome.
There was something really just laid back and simple about drag racing at those times.
Yeah, I think there needs to be more of that type of event. And, you've heard me and Lee talk about the kind of reformulating or modification of what NHRA calls a national event. I think,
you guys are big proponents of that.
Yeah, and I think that would help. That would help a lot. I think you have to kind of look ahead now to the younger fan. I think of a guy like Drag Race Mayhem, who's young, and their vision and way they see things, the way they, receive things, watch things are different. And these long, extended days aren't really something that appeal to a lot of the young people. And if you're going to do that, then there has to be some type of interaction where there can be, I don't want to say constant stimulation, but at the end of the day, like there has to be stuff to do for kids, for, teenagers, things like that are going to keep their attention, especially when you have downtime. There's going to be oil downs. There's going to be track stoppages. So I think you have to start forward thinking on the event. Because at the end of the day, in those times, regardless of how simple it was, there was still a lot of fun things going on. There was a lot of up close fan interaction, not just from drivers, but just from everyone. And I think that's important. That's how you not just draw them in, but that's how you keep them. And I think that's important.
And the thing going back to the California Hot Rod Reunion, something I've noticed when I've gone to Pomona and Vegas, but mostly Pomona, that the California racing vibe. It's different than the East Coast, Midwest vibe, but the California races with all the cacklers they have out there, with all the nostalgia cars. I just feel like when I go to Pomona and go to the California races in the track, there's a whole different vibe. Because that's where it got started. That's where drag racing really got started, was the California and the racetracks. And if you get a chance to go out there, please do, because it is a whole different vibe and all the different and the great stories you will hear. Because I used to work with Big Jim, and the stories he would tell. Oh, from back in the good days. He tells a good story. Big Jim tells it. You'd never guess it. You sit with him, he tells some great stories about back in the day. And it's just a whole different vibe out there in California when it comes to nostalgia racing.
Yeah. I definitely want to catch a March meet, and being that this has the similar feel, and the goodie bags, he got me at goodie bags, so definitely gonna have to put this
They don't do that anymore
on the list. No,
I remember going to Midway when I was a kid, and that's something you talk about, the new stuff. I remember going through the Midway with a bag, and it's like all the different fun stuff that you get at the races. And I'm not a hoarder, but I do collect stuff, and I still have I'm not a hoarder. I have Shirley Muldowney pins from back when she was sponsored by Pioneer, and that was the big thing. And just going getting stuff from different sponsored cars, and the Midway seemed a lot more fun back in the day too. But that's just me. And it's getting there. I'm not going to admit, it was fun going through now with the Mission Tortilla. The Pep Boys does just looking at the Quadra boots, because Nikki can't afford that. They're just they're trying, and they're getting more stuff for the kids, and because lots of times the kids just go out there and sit in the bleachers and Mom, I'm hungry, I'm bored. So
exactly. So slowly but surely, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting there.
And to answer Mayhem, the Midway with the Army and Traxxas. I miss Traxxas. Traxxas was awesome.
Fun. It was. That was a lot of fun.
The kids loved just going and watching and playing with remote controls. I really do miss Traxxas.
They did. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not part of Drag Race Bracket Bonanza, you've got 2 races to where you can win some free prizes. And if you're not sure of how to do this is how you can do it. And after that, we will have Richard Gadson.
Drag racing fans, check out Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's the free, family-friendly fantasy bracket game. Now, after final qualifying at every national event, you can fill out your bracket for all the pro classes.
It's free, easy to click on your picks. If you need some help, just hit the randomizer button to fill in the blanks. It's for fun, stay engaged, and pick your winners today.
Richard, what's going on, man?
How's it going, bud?
Man, it's going great.
I'm doing great. Well, I got some good pictures of you actually in St. Louis with your daughter and playing with Hector. She's giving Hector little bumps and stuff like that.
Oh, that was you that took that picture. I really like that. Yeah. One. I need to get
so much.
So, man, it's been quite the season. I I know it hasn't been all rainbows and sunshine, but I'll ask you from the beginning. I know people always talk about Gage's bike being so on from the jump. What were some of the struggles that you guys were facing? Because your bike now is really made some big time progression.
Yeah, you know, it's a that's one thing that I think that a lot of you know, and obviously this is a question I have to answer all the time. I get a million text messages or whatever of why is this bike so fast and yours not. It's a formula, man. You know, and when people ask, you know, why is Gage's combination so fast, you know, the Gage lovers say it's Gage and not the bike, and the people who, you know, or the other side say it's the bike and it's not Gage. It's really both, or actually it's Gage, the bike, and Andrew. And that's a match made in heaven. If you take any of those three out, you might not have as much magic. And that's something that me and Eddie have been working towards all year. You know, at the beginning of the year, I don't think that I was in tip top shape riding wise. And that's been something that I've picked away at all year. I didn't hit the ground running quite like Gage did. I picked away at that all year. And once I kind of got into a realm where not only I could ride the motorcycle, but I could communicate to Eddie in some ways how to make the bike better, you started to see the performance turn around and my bike get a little bit stronger. My entry be a little bit more strong. But you know, it's just something we're still working at. People don't give the necessary justice to how much of a process that is. I think people think that that's, if you got a fast bike, you should go fast right away, or if you got a good rider, you should go to the top right away. I think that it's quite the process, and sometimes it happens quicker than others. Gage just kind of that he just hit the ground running, but I don't think that should be the standard for everybody. Obviously, he's doing something that's historic, but we just been picking away at it, man.
Yeah, now because I learn more about bikes. I have really good friends who work at Vance and Hides and that. How much does your weight play into that? Because I see everybody like, you know, Steve and all you guys talk about having to lose weight to ride the bike, eat better to ride the bike. Are you guys kind of like wrestlers back in high school where you have to like be super strict during the season?
Yeah, you try to be, and that's not as much now with us having to be 660 pounds. Mm-hmm. It's not as critical. As you see, Gino Scally rides our rental bike, and he's shown glimpses of being pretty fast and competitive. And he went 106 60 foot in St. Louis, and I think Gage's best and my best was 105s. Mm-hmm. You know, you see glimpses of it out of his entry, and he's 30 pounds heavier than me and Gage. But you know, typically it matters. We try to stay as in shape as possible. I would say at the beginning of the year, I wasn't really ready. I wasn't at riding weight. I wasn't at the normal weight that I would ride at. That's also been another thing that's attributed to some of the performance gain over the years, just me getting more prepared mentally and physically. But yeah, it sucks. The weight watching sucks, you know, and I got a team where the guys like to go to dinner, and they're going to go to dinner, and it's tough luck if you can't eat what they're going to eat. And it's always a balance of trying to find something that won't make me tip the scales 5 pounds heavy the next day or whatever. But you know, I'm about 145 pounds. Gage is around 140 pounds. I don't know if that 5 pounds is that critical, but when you start getting in the back when we were 625, 630 pounds, or maybe even if you ride a 2-valve entry, you need to be pretty small.
I feel really fat right now. Listen to these guys. I weigh that. I'm like, yeah, more than that.
That's funny.
I weigh more than that.
You said Gino Scally being competitive. I thought Vance and Hines didn't give out competitive bikes.
Yeah, you got to turn off the internet. You know, Gino, and that's it. And again, you know, people don't give the necessary credit to how hard it is to get everything gelling together. The bike, the chassis, rider, there's things that you can set. You can obviously, we built all these motorcycles at the shop with the intent of them all being identical, but they don't
That's
print
hard
out
to do.
They don't print out identical time slips. Not every run at least. So it's a whole formula, man. It's a conversation piece for a lot of people. obviously with, whether Vance and Hines gives out this or that, or it's a conversation piece, but I assure you, man, we, every single person that buys our products, uses our stuff, or rides our motorcycles, we're trying to make everybody the fastest thing at the racetrack if we could do so.
Right. I was thinking about this whole back and forth that we've had. I you know how I feel about it, Richard, with all that's been going on. I think you guys have done a pretty darn good job of not getting caught up in that, knowing that there's a bigger picture ahead, and that's winning championships. Gage could have he stayed quiet for a while. You guys stayed quiet for a while. You guys have spoke up, and I've been trying to do that the whole entire season. I've been preaching truth here, but
we appreciate it.
But how difficult has it been to keep quiet, but also understanding that, hey, we don't want to get wrapped up in all the he said, she said nonsense, because at the end of the day, we here at Vance and Hines are about winning championships.
Well, you got to pick your battles. You got to, everything doesn't deserve or warrant a response. Not everything. Some stuff you kind of feel like you need to address or you want to say something about. You just got to be smart about it and be professional at all times. I always say you can talk a little bit if you're respectful and you be professional. And as far as us being quiet, we're not really that quiet. It all happens. It all happens at the end of the racetrack when we all turn off the racetrack. If you could be a fly on the wall up there, you'd hear a lot of stuff. But by the time we put our game faces on and get in front of the cameras, you got to watch it a little bit. But it's I would say it's good for the class. To an extent, it's made a rivalry that people have followed. We don't do it for that reason. This isn't staged or anything like that. No. This is all serious and real stuff, but whatever, it's got people watching, and it's not just us and Matt. You got Steve Johnson you throw in there, and it gets pretty interesting, man. There's always a lot of stuff going on, but we try to keep a certain level of professionalism at Vance and Hines. If it was up to me, we'd say a lot more, but I gotta I talk to the guys all the time, and we I know what I can address and what I can speak on and what I can't. And we just go out and do what we do, man. We just got to turn on win lights. At the end of the day, that does all the talking for you, and the fans will do it for you as well. You just keep turning on win lights, and that's what they're all about at Vance and Hines.
Yeah, there's a reason social media isn't allowed down to shoot at the end of the track, and it's because of what you just said.
It gets interesting down there.
Yeah,
I heard the stories. And now we're going to Rookie of the Year, which is a big thing. How is that experience, knowing that you're up for this prestigious award? And to me, you're in the lead. To me, I mean, 3 final rounds. I mean, how do you feel about that this year?
Did you vote for me?
I don't get to vote yet.
I do, and I have not placed my vote, but that I'm letting folks on the air. I'm letting folks know that. No, I don't have a problem, because I have receipts, because I have a big problem, Richard, about this whole Rookie of the Year. I felt in the last couple years it's been a popularity contest.
Oh yeah,
and there's criteria for us to do that. And when I look at the criteria, let's go over that real quick. We're talking about a 4.6 average for Richard Gadson, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about a 21-13 record up to this point. 3 finals, 3.3 average point position, 61% winning percentage. That's better than Tony Stewart, who, if I even remotely hear that is the Rookie of the Year, I'm going to burn it down. Okay, you guys know this. I'm going to burn it down, because I just told you what the receipts are right there. Final round losses 2. He's got 1 upset. Look, the numbers
too fast,
speak for
too
itself.
tasty.
Too fast, too tasty.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
The numbers speak for itself. 15-18 for Tony Stewart. Average position 9th. 45% win percentage. I'm done at that point. And Daniel Wilkerson, 43% win percentage. I'm done at that point. You're below 50%, you don't even get a sniff. Do you get a sniff in the playoffs if you're below 50%? In football, basketball, baseball? That answer is no, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely not. So,
well, I appreciate it.
Receipts.
That's a campaign. I definitely got to write down some of what you just said. All respect to the other competitors as well. Like I said it on TV, to be competing against Tony Stewart for anything, it's pretty crazy to me, because I never thought I'd be even mentioned in the same sentence as Tony Stewart, especially considering we're drag racing here. Like, we're not at a NASCAR race,
right?
We're drag racing, and I'm competing with Tony Stewart for something. Even indirectly. Daniel Wilkerson, much respect. Ida Zetterstrom, much respect. Sienna Wildgus. It's been fun. I think that it's been a cool deal. And simultaneously, I'm competing for Rookie of the Year, and I mean, it's kind of getting to be a long shot, but I'm competing for the championship as well. I haven't let go of that as well either. All in my rookie season. I think that's it's really something that I think just recently I've taken the time to sit down and say, because you get caught up in the disappointments. Let me explain something to you guys. You lose a race, right? Last race, I lost first round. You lose a race and your brain gravitates towards how disappointed you are. It's not until you have conversations like this, or you really put it all in perspective and you say, wait. I'm third in points in the countdown to the championship in NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle. I'm competing for Rookie of the Year with Tony Stewart. That's perspective. This is pretty cool. This is a fun ride. So I'm enjoying the journey, man. I would love to win it, but I'm really happy to be competing in it. I got as much thanks to the team, to Revzilla, to Motul, Vance and Hines, everybody at the shop, man. And when I say everybody at the shop, I mean the entire shop. Not just the guys you see at the racetrack. We all work really hard on giving me a good bike, and it's still up to me to pop the clutch and hit the button. And the job I've gotten me has gotten me third in points, so I'll take it.
Sure.
Yeah, you got a great team behind you. I'm good. I'm friends with all the Vance and Hines. I got on like the same birthday party baby circuit with all the Vance and Hines crew, and I just love those guys. Like, I was there when they won their championships. I mean, and what was it like? I mean, I got to go back a little bit when they asked you to ride for them, when you're like, this is, to me, Vance and Hines have been around forever. They've got such prestige. What was it like when they said, hey, do you want to come drive for us?
So we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of that. That was in Vegas.
Really?
Yeah, that was in Vegas. This same event like 1 year ago. It was kind of a little mention of it before that, but I wouldn't even call it a mention of it. I would say they mentioned something, but I didn't know what it was, to what capacity, what I was riding, who it would be for. I really didn't know anything. And that's still surreal. That's still something that when I go to Vegas, I remember exactly what Eddie said to me and where I was, what I was doing. It's like, just take something monumental in your life. You never forget exactly where you were when it happened. I remember everything about the whole deal. I haven't been nervous to ride a bike in a long time. And I remember rolling in a burnout box at that Vegas test session. First of all, I was uncomfortable on the bike. Like, it was set up for Eddie. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to bomb this. I didn't really think that, but the doubt was there. The fear was there. And obviously I didn't, which is how I ended up with the seat. But, it's still surreal. Gage says it all the time. This might be a normal thing for a lot of people. A lot of people that race NHRA were probably raised up in this, or a family member, or passed this down generational. Their father raced a funny car or whatever. This is not generational for me. Racing is, but not NHRA. So this is a level that most of us from the background that I come from look at as unobtainable. We don't think we'll ever we all dream of it, but we're never actually going to be able to race pro stock. And, to be sitting here and doing it is just, it's just crazy. You really have a hard time wrapping your mind around it, to be honest.
Well,
Very
I'll
cool.
say this. I saw and knew of Gage before he got here, and I knew what his skill set was then, and I followed you also before you got here. And when they announced those two, I was like, I said to Eddie, I said, "What are you trying to do? Assemble the Avengers?"
That's funny, and that's how I honestly, to be honest, that's how I envisioned it would be. I didn't envision some of the hurdles that I would have to overcome this year.
Yeah.
I thought that it would be a lot smoother of a transition. Those first, I would say, 4 races, man, it had me staring at the ceiling fan in the middle of the night, more than I wanted to. Just couldn't sleep. Just thought that I could perform at a better clip than I was, and thankfully, like you said, it's having a good team behind you, man. Gage has been pivotal. The tables are kind of reversed there. We used to race a class called, well, he still races Pro Street, but we both race Pro Street, and I would kind of, pulling him along at one point when he first came to the East Coast, and this year he's been pulling me along, man. So it's just having the right people in place. I think Gage is also pretty pivotal in this whole thing, man. This whole Rookie of the Year, this whole everything, and me being on this team. I know that they asked him. This is probably a story that not many, but I've told the story of how I got the ride a lot of times, but I don't think many people know that they asked him who he wanted to be his teammate, or what he thought of me. Yeah, or what he thought of me, and there was a lot of names in the hat, and he actually said me. So big shout out to
That's
Gage
awesome.
if you're watching.
That's awesome.
That is great. I mean, it's nice having that teammate who can advise you along the way. You have such a brains, what do you call it? The brain power over there to help lead you. That's very cool.
But you know what, though? That's actually a funny thing. He helps. We all help each other, but he doesn't advise me, because you got to understand,
really?
we're still competitors, and there's enough mutual respect between the two of us that I don't ask him anything. He don't tell me anything, and I don't ask him anything. Like, as far as how he does what he does, or what makes, how he rides the motorcycle. We'll talk about things, I would say, from a preparation standpoint, or checking on each other on our weight journeys, or just a before round good luck mental. I told the story before I won Mission Foods Too Fast Too Tasty, and he told me in the trailer, he said, go do what I couldn't do, stuff like that. But as far as like sitting down and say, yo, can you give me some advice on how to ride the bike, or how to be better, or how to cut a light, or whatever, I won't ask, and he won't tell. We still race. I mean, that's how competitive this class is. That's how competitive we come out of the same trailer. And you would think before we go up there to race each other, I know that everybody's always wondering if there's team orders and this and that. I'm trying to kill him, and he's trying to kill me every single time.
Right.
If you look at our lights, it usually, I think the one time we raced we were both 022. The next time we raced, I think he was 022 again, and I was 26.
Yeah. It's been good. Order.
No, and the last time we raced, he went 005 on me.
Whoa.
It's like, what can you do when somebody goes 00
using his force?
Not much. Not much, man.
What does he kind of help advise? I'm so sorry. Help advise you, like, on playing the game, though, of like going through NHRA, doing the media. I mean, when you first entered the NHRA, did he kind of help you with that, saying, "Oh, I just went all through all this. This is how it's kind of gonna go."
Yeah. He gets most of the media stuff. He's always number one qualifier and always winning. And it's funny. That's a funny story. At the beginning of the year, I thought Jay Craywick, it might have been Jay. I don't remember who it was, but we were in Gainesville. He won the first race. And they said, do you want to see how the win procedure goes? Like, we were at the end of the track. I went down there to pick up his bike with somebody, and I was riding his bike back. And they were like, do you want to see how it all goes? Aligning with you asking, does he help me with how everything works at NHRA? And I told him, I said, respectfully, my first time seeing the whole procedure of winning an event, I want it to be because I won an event. I don't want it to be because Gage won 50.
I love it.
And now I already know the whole thing. I wanted to be like a surprise, like the first time for me. So, and when I won Mission Foods, when I won Too Fast Too Tasty, I didn't even know where I was supposed to go. They rode me back in the truck, and I'm like, I guess everybody knows what happens next. I have no idea. So I ended up finding my way to the tower, but no, he's a guy that he will help anybody. He'll help anybody with anything. You got to see him. We're at the racetrack, and he's helping people on other bikes at other racetracks, and he helped me with the bike that I actually put together. Shout out James Johnson and George Baber at BPM. I had a motorcycle before this Vance and Hines deal, and Gage wired the bike up for me, let me pay him later. I mean, he's been pivotal in ways like that and helping me get to NHRA.
Such a good team.
Yeah, definitely. Memphis Lonnie has a question. Is Gino on board with y'all for next year?
That I'm not sure of, Lonnie. That's the stuff that happens. I kind of find that out when you guys do. I'm not on the business end of the team. I just get to point and shoot the bike. So
Andrew said,
we hope so.
Have you tried to talk Ricky into running Pro Stock Motorcycle?
If they had a Kawasaki somewhere, it probably wouldn't take much talking. He'd probably dive in head first. He's done it before. He raced back in the 90s. He bought a bike from Dave Schultz, and he qualified, I think, as high as 5th at a couple races and won a couple rounds. So I think he's content with what his NHRA journey was.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Your little daughter sees you out here doing your thing. What are some of the things you try to, kind of show her as she's growing up and watching you go about your business that she can, kind of sort of follow behind your footsteps if she chooses?
That's a good question. And it's such a loaded question. I can answer it for 10 minutes probably. But if I had to, the first thing that pops to my mind is literally, I would say that I didn't make it to this level from being financially blessed or from being, I would say that I was literally that determined. Everybody races for different reasons. Everybody has their whys. Some people's whys are lights, camera, action, or TV, or some people's whys or whatever they are. Mine is because I'm that competitive. I want to be better than everybody if I can. You know what I mean? And I would just say to her, just be, if you want to do something and you're passionate about it, stop at nothing, at literally nothing. This was something I used to just watch on TV. And it sounds so cliche, but when you really mean it, is you never envisioned this could be possible. And you just keep working and working and working until you make it possible. And I didn't make it possible. I had a lot of help along the way. Be respectful to people. And the best feeling ever is I would say what percentage of people in life get to actually live their dream? We all have them, right? What percentage of people actually get to do that? I think it's pretty small. So, and being able to do that, it's something that I'm going to definitely push. If I have another kid, I'm going to push it to anybody I know how to live your dreams. I think that's where I would start with it.
She has a great role model.
Definitely.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Definitely, man. I say what an incredible season. I know you'd like to have a few Wallies, but coming up on a year of this thing in Vegas. I don't know. I don't know. This might be the time to be able to hoist up a Wally at the end of this thing to cap off the year.
That would be a good storyline. And I've been so close a couple times this year, man. Like Virginia was the first one me engaged. Like I said, we both went 022, went a 78 to his 75. No, I'm sorry. I went an 85 to his 82. I think we were 300s off at the big end. Then I went to the finals in Maple Grove. Well, Charlotte, if you 4 wide. That was the first one. But I didn't finish as second place, so I count that as a semifinal. Second one was Maple Grove, and man, I thought I really no disrespect to Hector Jr. He's a tough competitor. He's tough company, especially in the countdown. I don't know what he does in the countdown, but He's super tough in the countdown, but that's my hometown race. I'm born and raised in Philadelphia. My whole family was there. You know, and I always say Gage and Matt, I can't really run with them best pass, or not always. Typically, they have a few hundreds on me, but I wasn't racing Gage or Matt. I was racing Hector, who was running solid low 80s. But I thought I had a low 80 bike then. I think that day my average light was like a 14 or 17. I went 0-11 to him in the finals, and as soon as I popped the clutch, the bike bogged, and I was like, "You gotta be kidding me! There's no way." There's no way this just happened. And then I went to the next final, which was I'm losing track of the races now. They're all starting to blend in.
Yeah.
Oh, against Matt and Redlit. And that, you know, and that one I had to own, you know, just got
Do you know it? Do you know it when you go red? Do you know it that is it a surprise, or you're like, yeah, I was a little early?
That's a good question. I'm still getting a feel for how I'm playing with the tree and how I'm staging and everything. So I don't really have this all down to a science just yet. I'm still working on it. But the way I've been being aggressive at the tree lately, you know, especially when I race Chase or Gage or Matt or somebody like that, usually when I pop the clutch, I'll take a double take and look at the tree again. Like I'll leave and I'm like, wait, that felt a little tight, and you know, you'll kind of like peek back at the tree again to make sure that the light's green. So typically, you know, I knew I red lit. I knew that I was aggressive. I knew when I popped the clutch that I was really, really on it. And if you look at the video, you don't really see me, you know, the numbers say I was 500s left in front of Matt. I think I might have rolled in a little deeper than I typically do. I think I just was a little bit too aggressive on all fronts that day. And it's a lesson learned, man. You know, it was a hard lesson because, again, that was a winnable round. It was a winnable race, but, you know, it's never a mistake if you learn from it.
Exactly.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yep.
I love that. That's one of my sayings. I don't believe in losses, because the only losses you take are the ones you never learn from.
Yep.
There's something to learn in everything, wins and losses. So, yeah, that's a great way to look at things.
The joke that Eddie would say to me is always, he says, just tell everybody you're finding all your ways to lose right now. You're just getting them all out the way. So
that sounds like him. That sounds about right.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yes. So you've met Eddie Krawick before, I guess, huh?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
I know the wife and children. Yes.
Yeah.
So getting all my ways to lose out the way, man. I know it's coming. I got a great team. I got a great bike. It's just a matter of time. It's just when it's your day, you know. And I just got to be ready for that day.
Yes, sir. One more question. I talked about it on my show, on the Not Bland show, and I'm not really a fan of this bye week. I understand if there was some big travel going on, but Dallas to Vegas isn't that far. This is playoffs, and I feel like it needs to be every week until it's over. What's your thought on that?
Man, if I could ride that bike, you know, again, those whys, right? One of my whys is I like to ride the bike. That is the hardest part of racing NHRA is I don't get to make enough passes. So you asking the guy, if you asking me, I don't want any bye weeks. I wish we could have left and went straight, but especially when you lose.
Yeah.
You want nothing more when you lose is another shot at it as soon as you can. Between Gainesville and Chicago was brutal for somebody like me.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, you know, actually, let me rephrase that. We needed to do a little work to the bikes. So I needed the bye week. Did I want it? Absolutely not. I wish I could go right back out there. I'm in championship mode. I'm in rookie of the year mode. I'm in race mode. Yeah. And I want to stay aggressive. And, you know, when there's too much of a break in between, when you get to the next race, you always feel like it's your first pass again. You know, you're like the first pass, you're like, dang, how was I doing this again? You know, like, you know, it kind of takes a few to get the juices flowing, unless you gauge. It takes a few for the rest of us to get the juices flowing. So I'll be ready for Vegas when it comes, though.
Man, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, man, for taking the time. And we got to get you back on the Not Bland show. I'm hoping that we can get you back on after you win Vegas.
I was just gonna say after the Vegas win.
All right,
I'm speaking it into existence.
You guys mark me down for that. We definitely need that win for the Rookie of the Year column, because that's still, I mean, if
that'll solidify it.
Those numbers that you just mentioned, if I win, that would be a really strong case. Yes. But if one of those other guys win, now we got a different conversation, right? So
right, we definitely do.
So I'm you guys mark me down for that. I'm gonna go for it in Vegas.
That's what's up. Richard, thanks a lot, brother.
Bracket.
We'll be talking soon.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Miss Nikki. Nice to
talk to you. Nice to meet you too. Yes.
Yeah. Y'all have a good one.
You too, man. Always fun, man. It's always fun.
And I like what you said, about him Rookie of the Year. I do feel like he's getting overlooked because of the bigger names and the Tony and that. And so I'm like, we need, people to speak up for him, because he's, like you said, his stats are so much bigger than the other. And another thing is how much they get out and do stuff with the fans. He's there. He's signing autographs. He's meeting with fans. He's doing appearances. So, yeah, I'm just afraid he's getting overlooked a little bit by the field people.
And here's your criteria, ladies and gentlemen. On-track performance, relationship with fans, media, and sponsors, participation in NHRA promotions, number of events completed, driver's potential as a future star. That last one is opinion.
Yep.
I think it's garbage. That should not be in there. This is not a popularity contest. This is about numbers and visuals. What does the eye test tell me? What does the tape tell me? I don't want to hear about what I think about the guy, his future, and whether he can be the face of the NHRA or not. That's not left up to me or anybody else that does this vote.
Yep. And the fact that, and you look at past winners, though, the bike winners, we've got some good ones that are still out there. Gage got it. Corey Reed got it.
Yes.
So many, it's just a tough year. And I think it's crazy too, because I've talked about this. We had Ida on at my TV station, and she's like, yeah, I'm going for the year against Tony Stewart. And everybody's like, what? Tony Stewart, rookie? What? How does that work? And you have to explain to him. It's like, yeah, he's and then me too. It's like Daniel. To me, I never would have thought Daniel, because he's driven all these years, but you have to run so many a year to be qualified. And he only run like 1 or 2 a year. Yeah. So to me, it's still throwing me off that Daniel's up for Rookie of the Year too.
Yeah.
I'm like, rookie.
It is. Yeah. Well, he's a seasoned veteran posing as a rookie.
Yeah. And then people are like, what about Austin? They have to remember it's professional, because we had the same thing with Dave Conley when he went from Pro Stock to Top Fuel. He did amazing at Top Fuel, and everybody's like, well, isn't he up for Rookie of the Year? No, because he's already been in a pro class. Yes. When you go from pro to pro, you're not. Same thing when Angel goes to Fuel, she won't be able to be up for Rookie of the Year because she's already been in a pro class.
Yeah, Drag Race Mayhem says, in my opinion, if you're factoring media availability into it, it's not a true Rookie of the Year. It's like they want Stewart to win. Look, man, I'm telling you right now, I text Nikki when I thought about it. I will burn. Look, I got called an angry black man on this show, and I tell you what, it will be Stephen A all day. There's no way. There's no way I'm letting that fly. And like I said, I have receipts. I don't come here just flapping my gums. I've got receipts, and there ain't no way in the world that should happen. Not with these numbers that we spit out here. And when, like I said, even with this, which I'll get there, even with this participation trophy stuff, when your collective numbers don't equal up to 500, your collective record doesn't even come close to the 10th place driver. Why are we talking about anybody below 10 being involved in the countdown? Do sponsors get excited about you having a losing round win-loss record coming in and being a part of the countdown? I would hope not. Ownership doesn't get excited when you're 1-15 for the year and you had one good win. Nah, it just doesn't work that way. It's not a good look. And we're finding out right now that 11, 12, 13, that participation trophy, it doesn't matter. You are what your record says you are, says Bill Parcells, and it shows up in the countdown. Those folks that were in those positions continue to race and perform badly like they have all season long.
The thing I do have to give Tony super duper duper props for is how much attention he has brought to the sport.
Yes.
Because I'm so grateful for his name and what he's done to bring it. I mean, being on the McAfee show, getting all the national, and he is, I mean, and you look at all the different drivers that go out and do media. He's one of the people who's been out there all year, who will go in a few days early, who will do the media, who will, you know, promote the race, you know, and so I do have to give him props for that. He's been really, he's came to our station a few times, and everybody loves us, like, oh, Tony's here, yeah. Because here in Indy, it's like, you know, more of like, oh yeah, Tony's here. So
Yeah.
I got to go kart with him and Connor Daly, and
oh
yeah,
man,
they
that's
whooped
awesome.
my ass. Oh yeah, I didn't want to. I thought, I'm like, I'm not racing those guys, and the next thing you know, they're getting back in the carts, and I'm like, oh my god. And you know, Connor lapped me, Tony lapping me. I think I hit Connor once, and I feel really bad about that.
I would have loved to have been a part of that, because I'd have definitely, by any means necessary. That's meaning if I had to put Tony in the wall. So
It was, well, yeah, because I got to do it because they were supposed to have all the media in town, but they got running late, and so they're like, "Hey, Nikki, do you want to do it?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
of
So yeah,
course.
I'm like,
Karen,
"How often do you get to do that?"
right, Karen, the voting is, I just so happen to
Yeah.
be fortunate enough to be chosen to have a vote. I kind of call it, I take pride in this vote, because to me, it's like having, you know, being an NFL media member, it's like me having the opportunity to vote for the Hall of Fame. And I take it that seriously. So that's why I'm passionate about it. I
Yes.
think this Rookie of the Year vote is something important. It's not like choosing or picking people for the Pro Bowl, which is a popularity contest. This stuff is serious, and it has to be it has to be considered in all facets. So yes, I do take pride in having an opportunity to vote for Rookie of the Year, and I study it just like I study film, watching football. It's very important to me that we get it right, and get it right the first time. And to piggyback off of you, I am very happy about the way Tony has come in and embraced the sport, but not just embraced it, but he's put it on its back, and he's getting out there to attract people to the sport, knowing how big he really is. I mean, you know, I'm a huge Smoke fan for sure, and really was the reason why I watch NASCAR, because I just like the fact that the guy just didn't care. He was going to say what he wanted to say, and
Those are my
he
favorites.
was going to make you pay on the racetrack as well, and that attracted me to NASCAR. And I don't have a whole lot of fandom that much anymore with NASCAR. I do like Bubba Wallace, but you know, Tony's my guy, and I appreciate him coming in, and not just coming into the sport and, you know, putting cars out there, but actually putting in some serious work to campaign and be a cheerleader for this sport. And I do think you're seeing the fruits of that labor as we see sponsorships really start to pick up and come into this sport and be a part of it. And I do think the better years of sponsorship are yet to come, as we will see more full-time cars because of the sponsorship turning their eyes to this sport. And Tony has a lot to do with that.
And don't forget, Tony this year, he's driven 2 classes. He didn't just do fuel this year. He also did alcohol dragster still, and won his division. Was it division or region? I do believe it's division. He won his division in top alcohol this year.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I mean, double race in this. That's the thing I give about him. He's passionate about motorsports, and whatever one he's in, he gives it his all.
Yeah. Yeah. It's quite impressive.
Let's see what we're gonna hear. Sorry.
It says Dragon Race Mayhem says NHRA didn't want actually solve the problem, so they put a band-aid on it. Yes, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I think we've proven we've proven that several times, but in this case, we have proven that that doesn't matter, and it would make it a whole lot better. Indy would be elevated to a whole nother level if you've got 3 cars, which we did have some cars looking to punch their way into the top 10. And it would have made that suspense. It would have made the failure on the top end and those interviews stick. It would hurt a little bit more when you miss it because you're not getting the participation trophy at all. And I think with these points races that we have, especially this year, it would have made it that much better. But because the action is so great, and that we at least have about 2, maybe you can count Pro Stock Motorcycle as 3 classes that will come down to Pomona.
That's the best when they come down to that final round at Pomona, and that's Antron at one year, when Doug, that was the final round, and it's just adds so much more excitement when it comes down to that very end.
Yeah. He said didn't have much to say in Dallas because he was pissed, and he can't really let it fly. He can't really let it fly because NHRA puts a muzzle on a lot of things, which I don't like that. I think they should be able to say whatever the heck they want, because you know what? That endears people to these guys and girls.
Oh, yes. That's why I love Will Power. If you watch IndyCar, he will say it. Grosjean's a piece of crap. He deserves a punch in the face. I'm like that. And, he's later said, yeah, I regret saying that. I'm like, I don't. That was awesome. That's why I love you, Will. And I told him that.
And, doesn't have to get physical on the top end. It doesn't have to get physical. But, true rivalries and those being exposed and the fans actually being able to see that. Well, you know what? That's why back in the day when, you had people right down the line, you either Chevy, Dodge, Ford, and there was no blurred lines. People would talk trash and yell at each other about these types of things.
Yes, they would.
You know what I
mean? My daddy taught me friends don't let friends drive Fords.
Exactly.
Chevy girl.
Every time we have this little clip that Bobby has sometimes, who you got, and I always say don't bet on Ford.
But they are sponsoring the Vegas race, so Ford, we love you. Thank you.
We love you. We love you. We love Bob Tasca. That's the best Ford in the business.
And Wilkie and I still call it Wilkie's car. I'm sorry. It is a Wilk, but
not the elder statesman Wilk.
Yes. Who I just adore. I adore the whole family. But so Ford, we love you. Thank you for sponsoring the Vegas race.
Andrew says, are you guys surprised Tony hasn't pulled it all together yet and won? I'll let you go first.
I am very shocked, very surprised. Like I said, I know it's his rookie year. He's still getting used to that. But I know his crew. He's got such a solid crew. I'm friends with all his crew, and I know he's got such a solid crew. But it comes down to race day luck. There's some drivers that have race day luck. Look at Sean Reed. Rob has tuned that. They've done so good. And then it just comes to race day, and it's just, when you try your hardest and you just inconsistency.
Yeah. And that's exactly where I'll go. And that they've had a history of that before Tony ever even got in the car. And they had a good run last year with Leah, just came up just short. And that's really been the story of their year. It's just not being able to consistently put it together, lap after lap. And really fine tuning and really being able to hit your mark each and every time. And it's tough. It's not easy, especially with the conditions that these crew chiefs have dealt with all season long. The constant temperature changes in one day through the weekend. You get to race day, and what you did in qualifying, it really doesn't add up because the temperatures and the track temperatures are totally different. So I understand they're fighting a lot of, variables, but, everybody's fighting those variables. And at some point you gotta find a way to consistently be able to give your guy a car that he, with his foot,
Yeah.
can get you a W if you give him something to give you.
But the
a W
problem
with.
is too, it's not just what you do in your lane; it's what somebody else is doing in the other lane. And if
Yeah.
and it just killed me, because my favorite drivers are, and they'll be running so good, and they do this great run, but the other person in the other lane just went that much, and it's just like, oh my gosh, it just, because I'm like you say, you watch the tapes. I'm the TV nerd, so I'll watch
Yeah.
NHRA TV. I'll be there. I'll be at an event, and I'll still go back and watch the Fox coverage because I can see
Me
that
too.
side by side,
I
and
love
I
it.
can see the coverage that the drivers are getting and what they say. But it's what's in that other lane. You may be having a good day, but that guy or girl in the other lane is having a great day. So it's not just your lane. What's going on?
Yeah, I know what you're saying there, and I do hear them say that, but there's some limitations. And you know how I feel. I think y'all heard Tony express how he feels about that. Need to stop with the time slips. We need a little bit more surprise. The time slips kill everything. Before Amanda gets them to the the camera to talk, which is, I don't like that whole staging and walking over. That kills everything. Get them right at the car.
Amen.
Get them right at the car when they're coming out and before they get the time slip, and then let Amanda tell them what they ran, what the speed was, and if they don't know that they won, that's why she's standing there, because they just won. So look at the old stuff from Diamond P and look at the Evans and the guys. Listen to the reactions. I mean, I think there's a classic one that I think John Force Racing put that up, but there's a classic of John Force didn't know he ran under 4 seconds when he got out of the car, and they told him, and his reaction was classic.
Yeah.
And that's what needs to be brought back. This Mr. Roboto stuff, that works in some sports. That doesn't work here in drag racing.
Look at, you got NASCAR guys doing flips off their cars. And so I love it when they win, and Austin and Clay get up on the wing, they get up on the car, and we want that. But like you said, the time slip thing does it, and you're just not. And Tony, like I said, I was shocked with Skip in his interview at the top end not too long ago, because we know, if you remember, we know Tony loves emotion because he bought Bob Bodie his own new helmet because he loved that kid showed his emotion through his helmet. So Tony got him a new one. And so we know,
Yeah. Yep. So I would like to see them work on that. Obviously, I don't know. You got, look, NHRA TV is live, and whatever flies on there. They're going to bleep it out on the broadcast anyhow, so because it's on the tape delay, so that they can do that. But guys should just, I'm not saying it should be almost where you just hit a beep and it just you don't hear anything because he's just cussing so much, but like, let these guys be natural, because I can tell you right now, when Tony lost, he had a lot to say. NASCAR Tony was about ready to pop out, and he had to tailor it back.
Well, and here's my other thing I gotta say too. This does not apply to the drivers. And I've said this to you, to at the starting line, the crew chiefs. It drives me crazy when they're like, "Hey," and you know who I'm talking about. I won't say it, but I'm like, they don't give us nothing. It's like I feel bad because Joe and Jason, they're actually asking, "Hey, what were you thinking? What were you trying for? What were you doing?" And they just answer with, "Oh, we love them in the other lane. They're great people." And like, no, talk about, I want to know what you were doing with the car. I want to know what you were trying to do. And throw in, I love, like Jason McCullough, he'll throw in some zingers,
Right.
I like when they throw in some good zingers. That's fine. But just don't be like, "Oh, we love them. Happy. We love everybody. Hey." I'm like, no. I want a little bit more information than that.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, at that starting line, on race day, I don't love none of y'all.
Exactly.
Period.
Just
because
like
I'm out here trying to win. And the last thing before we get out of here, this gentleman's agreement, this is not golf, bro. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, if you put me in a car on a bike and I'm going up against Matt Hagan, Ron Capps, Matt Smith, Gage, Richard, and I know that you have experience, I'm double bulbing the crap out of you immediately. You can be mad all you want in the top end. I ain't even
you still get the win light.
If I get the win light, that's all that matters. Now, we talked to Doug Herbert on this show about double bulbing, and he said that he feels that it would throw off the person that double bulbed. And I found that interesting as a person who has driven. But you know what, Nikki? I don't care because I know these guys, JR Todd, all these guys, they got their little procedure. And if you just remotely take too long, they're going to cuss you out and give you the business at the top end because you took too long. I got 7 seconds. If it's under the time,
you're fine.
Right. I got 7 seconds. And if I want to take 1 second, a millisecond, or 7, I can do that. And for me, if I'm racing those guys that have won championships that are cream of the crop and I'm a rookie, bro, every time I get to the line, if it's second round and beyond, I'm double bulbing you. And we're going to see if you can handle it or not. And you can either handle the pressure and figure it out, or I just get a win because I just threw you off. It's called strategy. You think they care about in football or basketball about whether the other team is set or not? Nah, they don't. They're trying to win, and they by any means necessary. So get off.
I hear you. I'm with you there too.
I'm done with that. We don't want to even hear that nonsense.
Man, you're like sassy tonight. You're like how I was this morning. Like I like every email I had to hold back of being. Oh my God, it was one of those days where I had to like when you write something out and have to go back.
Yeah.
Delete. Okay. And you're letting go of that right now. You're like, oh no.
Yeah, it's late.
I love it.
And yeah.
Get hangry, Nikki. That's when you get the sass. If I get the sass out and I'm getting mouthy, be like, Nikki, you need to eat something.
Yeah, Snickers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I am the poster child for that. Yeah.
Man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of our show. We thank you so much for tuning in. I want to thank Bobby Bennett. It's early,
thank you, Bobby.
but I want to thank Bobby for trusting me to be on this show. To have to take the reins from the great Lee Craft, Monday Morning Racer, who I do this show with. To trust me in that regard, to be on this show is really, really an honor and a privilege. And I appreciate that. And to bring my friend in here, Nikki Clark, to be able to co-host this with you is absolutely a blast. And I'm glad you're a part of the family and the rotation here. We need a little bit of that woman power on this show. And you're a front runner in that regard.
Thank you. I love it. And I also want to thank Bobby so much too. I've been helping out with Competition Plus social media. So drop us a line too. Let us know what kind of things you want to see, because I'm trying to tweak at race weekends and stuff like that. And Bobby's trusted me with that. And especially during the St. Louis race, he really trusted me because it was just me. So I want to thank Bobby so much. He put so much into Competition Plus. And I'm going to Best Buy this weekend and getting a camera for my laptop because obviously it hates me. So I can't do vertical video anymore.
Yeah, this was a tough show for you.
Yes. So I'll be going and getting a camera at Best Buy. So please don't take me out of the rotation because I have vertical video. I promise I'm going to go get a camera.
Oh, man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our peak here on this show. But look, if you want your car to perform at its peak, well, peak antifreeze and coolant is what you need.
If you want to take your vehicle's performance to new heights, you got to give it P. Like our original equipment technology, antifreeze and coolant. Our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle. That's one reason why Peak is among the fastest growing brands of coolant in America. We work harder to earn the trust of people like you every day.